The planet Aurora Prime was not a place that welcomed visitors. Its sky was often filled with heavy silver clouds, and its sunlight came through only in soft, pale beams. The land was mostly covered with rocky fields, tall, dry grasses, and large crystal-like formations that sparkled when touched by light. The winds here were strong and carried a low humming sound over the plains. Yet this planet was home to a community of humans who had lived there for many generations. These humans were not many in number. Their settlements were small and simple. They lived together closely, supporting each other in everyday life. Their main settlement was called Haven District, a group of dome-shaped buildings made of strong, blended stone. It looked humble but sturdy, a sign of many years of effort and adaptation. The humans did not have large technology or machines. Their tools were practical, based on what they could make themselves. But what most of them did not know, what history had forgotten, was that they were only alive because of help once given long ago. A mysterious alien species had once saved them when they first arrived. But that story faded through time, leaving behind only myths and quiet questions. Now, the people of Aurora Prime believed their survival came only from their own strength and persistence. They cherished values like cooperation, hard work, and kindness toward each other. Among these people lived Captain Alara Voss, a woman in her late 30s, with calm, dark eyes and a thoughtful mind. She was respected not only because she led the colony's exploration team, but also because she carried a gentle strength. Alara listened more than she spoke. She tried to understand before making decisions. Alara often looked to the sky. She believed the answers to many of their unknowns waited out there, among the stars. Humanity originally came from another place, far from Aurora Prime, but the old records were incomplete. Most information about Earth or the early journeys was lost due to damaged archives. Alara dreamed of finding those answers. One quiet morning, Alara was standing on a lookout platform outside the settlement. A soft, warm breeze touched her face as she watched clouds drift slowly above the barren plain. She was thinking about the latest report from the colony's observatory. The report mentioned unusual energy readings from a nearby star system. The readings were faint and old, almost like an echo of something that had once been active. But the signal appeared artificial, not natural. Something intelligent had created it. This was not the first strange reading the observatory had detected. For months, the same signal appeared briefly, then faded. It was steady enough to not be random, but unclear enough to not explain itself. Alara felt a quiet excitement. Something out there was calling to them. Or maybe something was waiting. Later that day, in the command dome, Alara met with Chief Researcher Mara Dellon and Engineer Orion Hale. They gathered around a glowing map display that showed the star systems surrounding Aurora Prime. Mara was a careful person, always analyzing details. The signal originates from System V47, just one jump away, she explained, pointing at the map. It's weak but consistent. There is structure in the pattern. Someone or something made it. Orion leaned forward. He was enthusiastic and always ready for new tasks. If there is technology in that system, he said, we could learn so much. We could finally improve our power systems, maybe even our medical tools. Alara listened to both. She understood the risks. Aurora Prime was stable but not comfortable. Every resource mattered. A journey would require energy, time, and careful planning. But she also knew something else. If humanity lived only to survive day to day, they would never grow. She made her decision with quiet confidence. We prepare a small exploration team, she said. We follow the signal. If there is something there, we will see it with our own eyes. The next week was filled with preparation. The exploration ship Starlight Seeker was cleaned, tested, and supplied. The ship was not large. It could hold only 5 people. Its engines were old but reliable. Many parts had been repaired through community cooperation over the years. The colony gathered to see the team off. They watched with hope mixed with worry. Exploration always held danger, but the people trusted Captain Alara. Before boarding, Alara placed her hand on the ship's hull. She whispered a quiet thought, not a prayer, but a promise. We will return with knowledge. The journey to System Vi-47 took several days. The ship traveled smoothly through silent space. Out the windows, the stars looked like drops of silver ink scattered on wide, dark paper. The team spent time studying the signal's pattern, eating shared meals and reflecting on what they might find. When they arrived near the system, the signal became clearer. It pulsed slowly like a calm heartbeat. The ship followed the source toward a small icy moon orbiting a pale blue planet. As the ship descended, something remarkable came into view. On the moon's surface stood structures, sharp and elegant, made of shining crystal-like material. They were arranged in smooth arches and towers, glimmering under the dim light. The design was unlike anything the humans had seen before. It did not look mechanical, yet it seemed intelligent, artistic, and purposeful. The team landed near one of the structures. They walked out slowly, wearing protective suits. The air was cold but still. There was no sign of life moving around them. But the feeling in the place was not empty. It felt as if something once lived here, something peaceful and wise. Mara spoke softly, her voice full of wonder. "This is not human work." Alara nodded. "No, but look closely. These structures, some of the materials resemble the foundation stones used in early Aurora Prime shelters." Orion paused, surprised. "Which means, whoever built this may have helped our ancestors." The realization passed through the group quietly. It was a moment that felt heavy and meaningful. They entered one of the crystal structures. Inside, they found a holographic archive, a device shaped like a circular pedestal. When Alara touched it lightly, it glowed and projected gentle images into the air. The images showed scenes from long ago, humans arriving on Aurora Prime, struggling with harsh weather. A tall, graceful alien species offering technology and food. Humans building shelter with their help. The aliens watching kindly, not asking for anything in return. The room became silent. These aliens were the Zillions, and without them, the humans of Aurora Prime would not exist. Alara felt warmth rise in her chest. It was gratitude, deep and sincere, even though the moment had been forgotten in history. "We were helped," she said softly. "We survived because of them." Orion looked thoughtful. "If they helped us once, maybe they still exist somewhere." Mara's voice held quiet hope. "Maybe they are waiting to see if we remember." Alara closed her eyes for a moment, not in sorrow but in reflection. "Then we must show that humanity never forgets kindness. We must show our gratitude now that we know." The team collected recorded data and carefully documented everything. They felt a connection, not of obligation, but of respect. Something greater than themselves touched their hearts. Before leaving, Alara placed her hand gently on the crystal pedestal, just as she had touched the ship before leaving Aurora Prime. "We will honor what you gave us," she whispered. And though no sound replied, the quiet air felt warm, as if the stones themselves acknowledged her words. The humans returned to the ship. Their journey back to Aurora Prime would mark the beginning of a new chapter, a chapter where humanity would no longer stand alone in the cosmos. They had learned the truth, and gratitude had awakened. The return to Aurora Prime was calm, but inside the hearts of the crew a quiet storm of thoughts was growing. Captain Alara Voss, engineer Orion Hale, and researcher Mara Dellon had seen something life-changing on the icy moon in System V47. The truth they discovered was not small or forgettable. It was something that could change how every person on Aurora Prime understood their past. The humans had not survived by chance. They were saved. Help had come long ago from the alien species known as the Zillions, tall, graceful beings with advanced knowledge and gentle intentions. Yet over time, this truth had faded into distant memory. It became legend, then myth, then disappeared completely. Now the truth was alive again. The Starlight Seeker entered orbit and soon landed at the main docking bay. Many colonists came to welcome the exploration team, hoping for news. Children waved, elders stood proudly, and workers paused from their daily tasks to see what the explorers had found. But Alara did not speak immediately. She believed truths of this size needed to be shared carefully and respectfully. That evening, she requested a gathering in the central hall, a place used for important announcements, discussions, and celebrations. The hall was large, made of beautifully polished stone shaped into soft curves. Warm lights made the room glow like a sunrise. When everyone settled, Alara stepped forward. Her voice was calm but filled with meaning. "We found something in System V47, she began. "Something that touches our history." She explained everything clearly. The crystal structures, the holographic archive, the scenes of humans being helped, taught, and supported by the Zillions. As she spoke, the hall became silent. Not silent from disbelief, but from deep attention. The truth settled into the people slowly, like gentle rain sinking into soil. One elder stood up, his face thoughtful. "This means our ancestors were not alone," he said quietly. "Yes," Alara replied. "We have a history of cooperation. We were helped when we were weak, and now we live because of that kindness." A young farmer raised her hand. "If they helped us once, why did they leave?" Mara answered softly. "Maybe they believed we needed to grow by ourselves. Or maybe they watched from afar, waiting for us to remember." The idea felt comforting to many. The colony did not feel as lonely as before, but Orion felt a different spark: curiosity. "What if the Zillions are still out there?" he asked. "What if they are watching us now?" This question stirred the hall. Some people looked hopeful, others worried. Alara raised her hand to calm them. "If they are observing us, we should show gratitude. We should show that humans remember kindness, and we should show we can stand as equals now, not as dependents." Her words settled warmly in the hearts of the colony. The people did not feel fear. They felt purpose. Meanwhile, far across the stars, in a distant region of space, among soft glowing nebulae and quiet star clusters, floated a majestic crystalline space station. It shimmered like a floating jewel, its surface showing shifting colors like the inside of a pearl. This was a Zillion sanctuary station. Within it, the Zillions gathered in discussion. Their forms were graceful. Their bodies appeared light, as if made of fine woven energy and delicate matter. Their eyes shone with gentle intelligence. Each of their movements seemed thoughtful and peaceful. They had been watching the humans. Long ago, they had helped humanity during its struggling beginning on Aurora Prime. They had given shelter, knowledge, and food, but they had stepped back when humans were ready to grow on their own. The Zillions believed deeply in allowing other species to develop without control or dependence. Now, they had seen the exploration team discover the old outpost. One Zillion, named Senali, spoke. Her voice sounded like music, calm yet full of emotion. "The humans have remembered," she said. "Their hearts recognize the help given to them. They feel gratitude." Another Zillion, Theru, was cautious. "But will they remain peaceful? Humans have strong emotions. Gratitude can bring unity, but ambition can bring conflict." Senali looked thoughtful. "Their leader, Captain Alara Voss, speaks with respect. She shows understanding." A gentle silence passed among the Zillions. Their discussions were never rushed. They believed every thought deserved time to breathe. Finally, the Council of Observers made a choice. "We shall watch," the Council decided. "We will not reveal ourselves fully, but we will open a path, a quiet test. If humans act with kindness, patience, and respect, then we shall meet them once again." The decision was made. Back on Aurora Prime, the colony began working with purpose. People gathered to study the data brought from the moon. Scholars compared old myths with the holographic images. Builders examined the architectural designs of the crystal structures, hoping to learn how they were formed. Life in the colony felt brighter now, not because of new technology, but because of new understanding. Gratitude filled the community like a gentle warmth. One evening, Alara sat outside the settlement on a small hill overlooking the plains. The sky was clear, and stars stretched above her like countless lanterns. Orion joined her, sitting quietly at her side. "Do you think we will meet them someday?" he asked. Alara nodded slowly. "I believe so, but only when the time is right. We must show we deserve their trust," Orion smiled. "Then we should continue improving our colony. Let our progress speak for itself," Alara agreed. And so, with renewed purpose, they planned the next steps, studying the materials, learning from the architecture, and preparing for communication if the Zillions ever reached out. The signal shifts days later. Something changed. The observatory detected a new signal, stronger, clearer, and directed toward Aurora Prime. This time, the signal was not an echo or a distant pulse, it was a message. The message did not contain words. Instead, it held patterns, shapes, rhythms, and soft harmonies that formed gentle meaning. It was a greeting, a peaceful greeting, and beneath it was an invitation to meet at a neutral region of space where no species claimed ownership. Alara gathered her team. Her voice was calm but held deep excitement. "They know we remember. They are reaching out. This is our chance to show our gratitude." The council of the colony agreed. They would go. Preparing for the journey, the Starlight Seeker was improved using small lessons learned from the Zillion architecture, slightly stronger support beams, smoother energy distribution, more efficient water recycling. These were small enhancements, but they meant something powerful. The humans were growing because of understanding, not dependency. As the ship prepared for launch, the colony stood together once more. Not with fear, but with quiet pride. Children waved small flags. Elders smiled warmly. Friends hugged before parting. Ilara stood before her people. "We go not to ask for help," she said. "We go to honor what was given and to offer friendship in return." The colony applauded, not loudly, but with steady, heartfelt respect. The Starlight Seeker rose into the sky, engines glowing softly, leaving trails of light as it entered the vast sea of stars. Far away, in the crystal sanctuary, the Zillions watched the ship approach. Sonali smiled gently. "The humans are coming." Theru observed quietly. "And now we shall truly learn who they are." The Starlight Seeker traveled through the deep and quiet space toward the meeting location, sent in the signal. The engines hummed softly and the lights inside the ship glowed dim and peaceful. Captain Ilara Voss, Engineer Orion Hale, and researcher Mara Dellin sat together in the main cabin, each thinking about what they were about to experience. For the first time in many generations, humans would meet the Zillions, the mysterious beings who had helped their ancestors survive. It was not a small moment. It was something that could change their future forever. Though excitement filled the team, there was also calm determination. They were not going to ask for assistance or special gifts. They were going to show gratitude and offer friendship. That was what Ilara believed, and the others followed her belief with trust. Arrival at the meeting point. The meeting location was a gentle, open region of space, where long, soft clouds of golden dust swirled around faint stars. It was beautiful, almost like a painting in motion. The Starlight Seeker slowed, drifting carefully. Then something began to appear out of the glowing dust. At first, it looked like a glimmering reflection. Then it became clearer. A Zillion vessel unfolded from the dust, graceful and shining like carved crystal. It had no hard lines or metal structure. Instead, it looked like floating glass shaped by light itself. Soft colors moved along its surface, changing like water at sunrise. Ilara, Mara, and Orion stared in awe. The ship did not look dangerous. It did not show any weapons. It felt peaceful, calm, and welcoming. A gentle light extended from the Zillion vessel toward the Starlight Seeker. It was not a beam, it was an invitation. Ilara nodded. "We will respond." She guided the ship closer. When the ships aligned side by side, a large shimmering doorway formed between them. It looked like liquid air glowing faintly. The humans stepped forward and crossed into the Zillion ship. The first meeting inside, the air was warm and fresh, with a soft floral scent. The walls of the ship were smooth crystal that gently glowed with soft blue and silver light. Everything felt both advanced and natural, like a balance between technology and nature. Then they saw the Zillions. 4 of them stood together, tall, elegant, and calm. Their bodies seemed partly made of light, yet they were clearly physical. Their eyes were large and gentle, full of understanding. They did not walk forward quickly or dramatically. They approached slowly, with respect. One of them, Sonali, stepped closer and lowered her head in greeting. Ilara did the same. There were no spoken words at first. Instead, soft melodic tones filled the air, like a language of music. But soon a clear, gentle voice formed in Ilara's mind. "Welcome, children of Aurora Prime." Ilara did not panic or step back. She stayed steady and answered in words. "We are honored to meet you. We remember your kindness." Sonali's expression softened, though her face did not move quite like a human's. "We helped your ancestors when they were lost. We offered shelter, food, and learning. Then we stepped away so that you could grow." Mara stepped forward respectfully. "We did not know. The memory disappeared in time, but we have rediscovered it. And we are grateful." Sonali's eyes glowed faintly like starlight. Gratitude remembered is a rare and precious thing. The humans and Zillions stood together in quiet understanding. The Zillions' problem. After the greeting, Sen Ali motioned gently for them to follow. They walked through a long hallway of soft, glowing stone until they reached a large chamber. In the center floated a holographic model of a star system. The hologram showed a Xilian homeworld, a beautiful planet covered in blue seas and shining crystal forests. But something was wrong. A core of energy at the center of the planet pulsed unevenly, glowing too bright then too dim. Sen Ali spoke softly. Our world is in danger. The energy core that gives life to our ecosystem is becoming unstable. If it collapses, our world will fall into silence. Alara listened with full attention. The situation was serious. The Xilians were peaceful, wise, and advanced, but even they had struggles they could not solve alone. We want to help, Alara said with sincerity. The Xilians watched her carefully. Theru, another Xilian, spoke. His voice was calm but cautious. Many species ask us for our knowledge. Some want power, some want technology, some want advantage. Before we accept help, we must understand your hearts. Orion took a step forward. His voice was honest and clear. We do not want power. We do not want to take. We want to honor what you did for our ancestors. Helping you is the right thing to do, Mara added gently. We understand struggle. We have experienced hardship. We know how it feels to fight against survival. If we can bring hope to others, we should. Sen Ali studied the humans for a moment. She saw truth in their eyes. She saw gratitude without expectation. Then you will join us in solving this crisis, she said. This was the challenge of trust, not a test of strength, a test of character, patience, and cooperation. Working together, the humans and Xilians began studying the unstable energy core through simulations. The problem was complex. The core was the heart of Xilian natural life. They could not simply replace it or shut it down. They needed to stabilize it without harming the environment. Xilian energy technology was delicate and beautiful, but unfamiliar to humans. Human tools were simpler but adaptable. This difference became their strength. Orion created new ways to channel energy using flexible human wiring techniques. Mara suggested balancing the core by adjusting environmental feedback loops, something the Xilians had not considered because they were deeply connected to pure energy, not mechanical stabilizers. Alara organized cooperation calmly, guiding both sides to communicate clearly. At first, there were misunderstandings. The Xilians' way of thinking was layered, soft, and intuitive. Humans sometimes spoke directly and quickly, but instead of growing frustrated, both sides listened to each other. Slowly, carefully, respectfully, trust grew. Together, they built a stabilization device, a blend of Xilian crystal and human-engineered supports. It looked like a glowing ring of silver and blue light. When it was tested, the holographic core shifted from dangerous flickering to a steady, warm pulse. The humans and Xilians watched it stabilize. A quiet breath of relief passed through the room. Sen Ali turned to Alara. Your people have strong hearts. You do not only survive, you help others survive. Alara bowed her head slightly. We could do nothing less. We are alive today because of your kindness. Helping you is part of who we are. A new understanding. The Xilians smiled, not with their mouths, but with a soft glow of light through their bodies. Their trust had been tested, and humanity had proven itself. The challenge was not just about saving a world. It was about showing who humans had become. The humans were not only survivors. They were companions, builders, and protectors too. Sen Ali extended her hand. Alara placed her hand over it. It was the first physical handshake between their species in generations. It felt warm. It felt peaceful. It felt right. The journey was not over. But a bond was formed, a bond strong enough to change worlds. After the stabilization device design was completed inside the Xilian vessel, the next step was clear. The device needed to be installed directly on the Xilian homeworld, where the energy core lived deep within the planet's central crystal network. Captain Alara Voss, Engineer Orion Hale, and researcher Mara Dellin understood the task was delicate. It required careful coordination between both species. There was no room for mistakes. The energy core was powerful, beautiful, and extremely sensitive. A wrong adjustment could harm the planet, yet the humans did not feel fear. They felt responsibility. The Xilians also understood the importance of trust, and now trust flowed both ways. Sen Ali stepped forward in the ship's main chamber. her voice warm and clear. "We will travel to our home now. You will see the world you helped to protect." Ilara nodded gently. "We are ready." The crystal world revealed. The Zillion vessel left the gentle nebula region and glided through space with movement that looked more like floating than traveling. There was no shaking or engine noise, only soft light and smooth movement. After some time, stars parted, revealing a glowing blue world surrounded by white rings of sparkling dust. The planet looked alive with soft colors that shifted across its surface like waves of morning light. It was beautiful in a quiet, calm way, like a peaceful dream. "That is their world," Mara whispered, her voice full of awe. Orion's eyes widened. "It does not look like any planet we have seen before." Sonali's voice was gentle. "Our world is shaped by harmony. Our structures grow with us, not against nature." The ship moved closer, descending carefully. As they entered the atmosphere, the humans saw tall forests of crystal trees that shined softly as they moved in the wind. Rivers flowed like liquid silver. Small, gentle birds of soft color flew between the forests, moving like floating light. Ilara felt something warm in her heart. This world was peaceful. It was balanced, and now it needed help. Welcomed by the Zillions, the ship landed near a large crystal city. The buildings were tall, curved, and smooth, as if shaped by flowing water instead of tools. The city felt open and clean. There were no loud noises, no haste, no tension. Everything moved slowly, naturally. Zillions gathered to greet the humans. Their faces glowed with curiosity and kindness. Children among them watched with bright eyes full of wonder. They had heard stories about humans, but stories were only whispers. Now the living proof stood before them. One young Zillion child moved closer, looking up at Ilara. The child raised a small shining hand, and Ilara gently mirrored the gesture, palm to palm. The child smiled. The light in their body glowed softly like a warm candle. Orion exhaled softly. "They are so peaceful," Mara nodded. "They live with balance, not struggle." Sonali guided the group toward a tall tower where the energy core network was monitored. Along the way, they passed gardens full of glowing plants and quiet walkways where Zillions rested, studied, or talked softly. Ilara noticed something important. The Zillions did not hurry. They did not rush. They lived with patience, and yet they were now in danger. The fading core inside the tower, a large glowing map of the planet's energy lines, floated in the air. Thin rivers of light moved like glowing roots under the surface. At the center of the map, a bright sphere pulsed unevenly. Each pulse was slow, then fast, soft, then harsh. It was like a heartbeat struggling to keep rhythm. Theru approached the map, his expression serious. "The core is weakening. If rhythm becomes unstable, our forests, our seas, our sky, all will begin to fade." Ilara listened closely. The Zillions' world did not run on machines. It ran on harmony. When that harmony weakened, everything connected to it suffered. Orion opened the case carrying the stabilization device, the blend of Zillion crystal structure and human engineering supports. He handled it with great care. "We will need to place this directly at the core chamber," he explained. "It must balance the energy flow gradually so nothing is shocked." Theru nodded. "We will guide you." The descent to the heart of the world, the group traveled to a crystal mountain, tall, bright, and full of soft echoes. A deep pathway opened downward, glowing with gentle blue light. It was not a mechanical elevator. It was more like the mountain itself opened its heart to them. Inside the mountain, the air grew warmer. Soft hums filled the space like distant singing. The walls shined like polished stars. At last they reached the core chamber. It was a large circular room filled with flowing rivers of bright energy. Crystal pillars stood around the center, surrounding a glowing sphere that pulsed slowly. The sphere was beautiful, soft white with hints of silver and gold, but its rhythm was uneven, flickering like a candle losing strength. Sonali spoke quietly as if speaking to a living being. "This core gives life. It is our history, our memory, our spirit." Ilara felt the depth of her words. The core was not only energy, it was identity. Orion stepped forward with steady hands. He began placing the stabilization device carefully between two crystal pillars. Mara helped adjust the energy sensors so that the device would respond gradually instead of forcefully. Sonali and Theru watched closely, ready to guide. The process was slow. Every small movement mattered. The moment of balance, when the final connection was made, Orion stepped back. His hands were trembling, not from fear but from the weight of the moment. Ilara looked at Senali. Senali nodded. They activated the device. At first, nothing changed. Then the sphere flickered. Too fast. Mara spoke quickly, but calmly. Lower the stabilizer flow slightly. Let the core match the rhythm naturally, not by pressure. Theru adjusted the flow with a delicate hand. The sphere pulsed again. Once. Twice. Steady. Balanced. The glow became warm and gentle. Like sunrise returning after a cold night, the crystal pillars shimmered softly. The hum in the air grew calm and deep. The core was stable. It was saved. A quiet warmth filled the chamber. No cheers. No loud celebration, only peace. Senali placed her hand on the crystal floor in gratitude. You have protected our world. You did not ask for anything in return. You helped because your hearts remembered kindness. Ilara lowered her head with sincere respect. We are alive because of you. We simply carried the circle of kindness forward. A celebration of harmony. That evening, the Zillions invited the humans to a peaceful gathering in the light gardens. The air was warm and filled with gentle music, not played by instruments but created naturally by the movement of light in the trees. The humans sat with the Zillions, sharing stories. No one asked for technology. No one asked for power. They spoke about life, learning, friendship, and growth. Children played together, human and Zillion. Their laughter was the same. Senali sat beside Ilara. Your people have shown something precious. Gratitude that becomes kindness. Kindness that becomes protection. Ilara smiled softly. This is who we wish to be. Senali's eyes glowed like soft morning light. Then our worlds shall stand together, not as teacher and student, but as companions. A new bond was made. A bond of shared respect. A bond of peace. A bond that would guide their futures. Time passed gently, like a soft wind crossing a wide field of stars. The once small colony of Aurora Prime had changed greatly. It was no longer a place struggling to survive. It had become a place of light, learning, and unity. Humans no longer feared running out of food or energy. They no longer worried about being alone in the universe. Instead, they had found strong friendship with the Zillions, the ancient star travelers who had once helped them in silence. The partnership between humans and Zillions had grown strong after the energy crisis on the Zillion homeworld was solved. The humans had stood beside the Zillions during their most desperate time, and the Zillions never forgot this. They came to understand something important. When humans receive help, they do not forget. They carry gratitude like a flame inside their hearts, a flame that can bring warmth to entire civilizations. Captain Ilara Voss had become a well-respected figure among both humans and Zillions. She continued to serve, but now her work was not only for survival, it was for building peace among the stars. She traveled between worlds with her crew, helping create new agreements, trade routes, educational programs, and exploration missions. One bright morning, Ilara stood on the balcony of the Aurora Prime Council Hall. From there, she could see the expanded city. Tall structures made of smooth white stone and glowing silver towers reached upward like pillars of hope. Sky bridges connected buildings with gardens growing on every level. Children played in open-air plazas. People laughed, learned, built, and dreamed. It was a sight she wished the early colonists could have seen. It would have given them peace. A gentle voice approached her. It was Lyran, a Zillion ambassador and one of her closest friends. Lyran's tall, crystalline body shimmered softly in the morning light. Their voice sounded like a soft bell, calm and thoughtful. Another delegation is arriving today, Lyran said warmly, this time from the Varan League. They wish to learn how we built this unity. Ilara smiled. They want to learn how humans and Zillions work together, yes? That's good. The more worlds we connect, the safer the galaxy becomes, Lyran nodded slowly. Indeed, many civilizations believed cooperation between distant species was impossible. But now, this place is proof. Gratitude is a bridge stronger than steel. Ilara looked out again at the shining horizon. It began with one act of kindness, a small help long ago, and now look at the result. Lyran admired the view with her. The smallest light can guide travelers through the darkest night. A new era of shared learning. The great academy of Aurora Prime had become the heart of knowledge exchange. Humans and Xiliens studied side by side. They learned science, history, art, diplomacy, and exploration. Some even learned each other's languages. The academy gardens were full of people discussing new ideas, working on new starship designs, and imagining new futures. The first joint human-Xilien fleet was launched. These ships were faster, safer, and more efficient than anything humans had ever built before. They were capable of traveling far beyond known star charts, and they carried something more valuable than technology. They carried a mission of peace, gratitude, and cooperation. The fleet did not conquer. It helped. It helped planets low on food. It helped civilizations struggling with disease. It helped groups in conflict learn how to trust again. Wherever the fleet traveled, they carried the message: kindness given should be returned. Gratitude can change worlds. This message spread across star systems like gentle sunlight. A ceremony of honor years later, the Xilien High Council invited Alara and her crew to a special ceremony on their homeworld. The council hall was shaped like a great flower of glass and light, opening toward the sky. Thousands attended. They came to honor the humans who once saved their world. Alara stood before them, humble and calm. She wore a simple uniform. She never liked too much display. The council leader, Vayer, spoke to the gathering. Long ago, we helped humans when they needed strength. We did not expect thanks. We expected nothing. Yet today, we see the greatest proof of the power of gratitude. Humans did not forget our assistance. They remembered, and they returned that kindness with bravery, wisdom, and compassion. The galaxy is safer, stronger, and brighter because of this shared bond. The audience shimmered in quiet admiration. Alara stepped forward to speak. We were saved long ago, though we did not know who had helped us. When we learned the truth, we understood something important. Life in the universe is not about being stronger alone. It is about lifting each other so we all rise higher. Humanity will always remember the help it received, and we will always stand with those who once stood with us. Her words were simple, but they traveled deep into every heart. After the speech, Xiliens lit thousands of soft floating lights in the sky. They rose slowly, glowing like gentle stars, symbols of peace carried into the universe, a future of endless hope decades later. Aurora Prime had become known not as a colony, but as a beacon world. Travelers came from hundreds of systems to learn how cooperation can build strong futures. Humans and Xiliens became known as peace builders, the ones who help instead of conquer. There were museums honoring their shared history. There were gardens where stories of kindness were carved into stone. And there were training centers where young people from many species learned how to serve with curiosity, respect, and empathy. Children born in this new era did not grow up fearing space. They grew up ready for it. They did not grow up thinking of others as strangers. They grew up thinking of others as possible friends. Alara, now older but still strong, often walked the same balcony where she once watched the early sunrise. She would smile quietly, knowing that her people had become something extraordinary. They had become a symbol that even small acts of assistance matter. Gratitude is not weakness, it is strength. Hope can be shared like water, and kindness can shape the destiny of entire worlds. The galaxy remembered humans not as conquerors or wanderers, but as the ones who never forget kindness, and that legacy continued, far beyond any single lifetime, like a star whose light shines across eternity.